At the start of the drama, the male lead, Yehan, says, when a man turns 30, he always reminds himself that he has to be mature now. But even at this age, he can only do crazy things with his friends. Yehan says, my friends are still exactly the same as we were before, and they always stand by me. Then, Yehan starts to tell about his friends. My friend Lu Jung's dream was to become a very big star. But like other people, this dream of his remained just a dream. Jia Cheng dreamed of becoming a hacker, but now he can't even remember his own laptop's password. And Suyan's dream was that he wanted to establish peace in this world, but his thinking has now changed. He thinks that to establish peace, one shouldn't forgive, but should get a divorce. Yehan says, my dream was to become a cool editor for a fashion designer, and this dream of mine has been fulfilled to a great extent. Then we see the female lead of this drama, Li Xiao, who is reading a magazine in her house. Her friend, Yuan, asks her, are you still reading this magazine? So she says, if you read this magazine, you will know how different it is from other magazines. When Yehan comes to the office, he is told there is a spelling mistake in his magazine. He says, reprint the 30,000 magazines because I don't want the brand's image to be spoiled due to a small mistake. Coming to the bookstore, Li Xiao is reading the same magazine. Then she goes to buy that magazine. There, a lady says, you have turned 29 years old. You should get married now. To this, Li Xiao says, I am not married because I couldn't find anyone, but because I don't want to get married right now, and leaves with her magazine. At this, that lady says to Yehan, who is standing right there, she is so hot-tempered. Who will marry her? At this, Yehan says, I will. Hearing this, that lady is surprised, so Yehan says, this is her life's decision. You should not take interest in it. Back home, Li Xiao is reading the magazine that has the mistake. Here, Yehan also finds out that one copy of the magazine with the mistake has been sold in the market. Yehan tells his assistant, search online to see who has that magazine, and we will give them some gifts. This way we can find out who has the magazine. Hearing his words, the assistant leaves from there. Then, Yehan is getting ready to go to a party. Whatever Jia Cheng is selecting for him, Yehan is doing the exact opposite. Annoyed, Jia Cheng says, I have been here with you for the last hour, but when you have to do everything yourself, why did you call me here? Saying this, Jia Cheng leaves from there. Here, Li Xiao is also getting ready to go to the same party and looking at Jia Cheng's photos. And smiling, she is saying, today, I will definitely tell him that I love him. Just then, her friend Yiwen comes there and says, I also want to go to the party with you. Li Xiao gives her her invitation card and says, you keep this card. I have a friend there, so I will manage. Then Li Xiao gives her the invitation card and goes to the party. When Li Xiao reaches the party, she is asked for the invitation card. Just then, Jia Cheng comes there and says, she is my friend, and then brings her to the party with him. Li Xiao meets Zhu Yan there. Seeing her, he says, I couldn't even recognize you. You look just like a star. Li Xiao says, you lawyers are very good at complimenting girls. Here, Jia Cheng asks Yiwen to have a drink with him. She agrees, and then Li Xiao arrives. Seeing Jia Cheng with another girl, she feels heartbroken, and she is running away from there when she bumps into Yehan. Just then, Yehan's assistant comes to call him there. Come on, it's time for your speech. Yehan leaves from there. Li Xiao sits there thinking, I have liked Jia Cheng for so long, and today I was even going to tell him about my feelings. But how can these two kiss in their first meeting? She was talking about Jia Cheng and Yiwen. Sitting in his house, Yehan is thinking about Li Xiao. And the next day, in his office, he puts up a strange drawing of Li Xiao and asks everyone, did anyone see a girl like this at the party yesterday? Seeing that painting, Jia Cheng says, are you looking for an alien? Yehan says, what are you talking about? Look how beautiful she is. All the people there are laughing at Yehan's drawing. Here, Li Xiao is telling her friend Yiwen, I had a crush on a boy for a long time, but yesterday I saw him with my own friend, and he is not even serious about her. Just then, Li Xiao finds out that the editor of the magazine is looking for the person who has the copy with the mistake. So she comes to Yehan's office. Yehan is very happy to see her there. Yehan tells her, I am the in charge here, and you should give me the magazine that you have. But Li Xiao says, I will give this magazine to Jia Cheng, but he is not there. So Li Xiao takes the magazine and leaves from there. Then Jia Cheng calls Li Xiao and invites her to a restaurant. They are having dinner together. She asks Jia Cheng, why are you giving me such a nice treat today? So he shows her a picture of Yiwen on his phone and asks, are you two friends? Seeing Yiwen, Li Xiao gets a little upset. Jia Cheng says, we met at the party. After that, I never saw her. You are her friend, so can you give me her number? Then he starts talking to her about Yiwen. Outside, Yehan is standing and watching them both. Then, when Li Xiao comes out of the restaurant, she is standing there thinking about about something. Just then, Ye Han comes there and sees that the door is about to fall on Li Xiao. He quickly saves her. Then he asks her, "Do you like Jia Cheng?" So Li Xiao says, "No, it's nothing like that." Then, in return for his help, she gives him her scarf and leaves from there. Coming home, Li Xiao tells Yuan everything about Jia Cheng, and then, after asking Yuan, she sends her number to Jia Cheng. The next day, she comes to return the magazine to Ye Han and says, "You should never let Jia Cheng know that I used to like him, because I don't want to ruin our friendship." Just then, Jia Cheng also comes there and thanks Li Xiao for Yuan's contact number. Li Xiao says bye to both of them and leaves from there. On the other side, Suyan is sitting alone and having dinner. He is very upset and, looking at his ring, is remembering his fiancée. Just then, his 3 friends come to him singing the happy birthday song. Jia Cheng says, "Why didn't you call us here to celebrate your birthday?" Saying this, the 3 of them sit with him. Suyan thanks the 3 of them for coming here. The next day, Ye Han meets Li Xiao again and gives her a modeling job for his suit. After the suit, Ye Han is showing her photos and says, "You did a very good job." Then he asks Li Xiao to have dinner with him, but Li Xiao finds this a bit strange, so Ye Han says, "We go for dinner after the suit, it's a rule here." At this, Li Xiao agrees to go with him and says, "Wait, I'll just go and change." So Ye Han says, "No, you take these clothes with you." Li Xiao is quite surprised by this. Ye Han says, "We give the clothes to the models in which they do the suit." Li Xiao says, "You are so nice." Then they both come for dinner together. Here, Lu Zheng is looking for his wedding ring. Just then his wife Sheng Yun comes there. Lu Zheng is very scared to see her, but he tells her, "My wedding ring is lost." Sheng Yun doesn't say anything to this, so Lu Zheng says, "Why aren't you saying anything? If you are angry, you can hit me." Sheng Yun comes to Ju Yan with a copy. He gets nervous seeing her and asks, "What happened?" Sheng Yun tells him, "I want a divorce from Lu Zheng." Suyan, on the pretext of looking for documents, messages Lu Zheng and tells him Sheng Yun wants a divorce. Then at night, Ye Han is sitting when Jia Cheng and Suyan bring Lu Zheng to him, holding him. Ye Han says, "Promise me that you will never make Sheng Yun angry again." Lu Zheng promises, but still, these people catch him and beat him. Then, Jia Cheng invites Yuan and Li Xiao to his house for dinner. While having dinner, Yuan asks Li Xiao, "If you don't like Ye Han, then who do you have a crush on?" Li Xiao says, "Whoever I had a crush on, it's over now." The next day, Li Xiao is very excited for Ye Han's magazine because Li Xiao's photo has been shot for his magazine. Li Xiao is coming home reading that magazine when she meets Ye Han on the way. He asked her, "Did you like this magazine?" Li Xiao says, "Yes, it's good." Ye Han says, "I have written an article about you in it." Li Xiao says, "Thank you for this," and says, "You have described me very well." Ye Han gives her a photo frame. It has a photo of Li Xiao. He is putting it in Li Xiao's room and sees many of his magazines there. Li Xiao tells him, "I like to collect magazines." Then she tells him, "You gave me such a nice gift. You should stay for dinner here today." Just then, Li Xiao hears someone at the door. So she takes Ye Han and quickly hides him in the washroom. Ye Han says, "Whoever it is, I'll go and meet them." Li Xiao tells him, "I think Yuan has come, and if she sees us together, she will misunderstand something." Just then, outside, Yuan sees Ye Han's shoes and says, "I won't disturb you two. I am leaving from here." From inside, Li Xiao says, "What are you saying?" So Yuan says, "From next time, you should also hide Ye Han's shoes properly." Saying this, she leaves from there. Then, Ye Han asks Li Xiao, "What are you doing tomorrow?" So Li Xiao says, "I haven't planned anything yet." Ye Han says, "I have bought a car. So will you hang out with me tomorrow?" Li Xiao says, "Yes, there is a restaurant. I have wanted to go there for a long time. I will take you there tomorrow." The next day, they both come there. Ye Han says, "You said you would take me to a restaurant, but I didn't think you would bring me to a street stall." Li Xiao says, "You taste the food here. It's very good." Then she brings Ye Han to a garden with her. Just then, a lady goes there and says, "Take care of your wife because the road here is very bad." After that lady leaves, Li Xiao says to Ye Han, "Why didn't you explain anything in front of her? And who is your wife?" Ye Han says, "Why are you worrying about such a small thing?" Then they both start picking tea leaves there together. Then at night, they both come to see fireflies together. Li Xiao is very happy to see that, and seeing her happy, Ye Han also feels good. The next morning, Li Xiao is cycling when Ye Han comes there from behind in his car. Li Xiao asks him, "What are you doing here?" Ye Han gets out of his car, poses there and says, "I have learned this new pose for you." Then we see Jia Cheng. His sister Jialin comes there. Jia Cheng tells her, "Have you forgotten that you have a brother?" Jialin says, "How did you know that I have come here?" He tells her, "Your location is showing on your account." Jolin, smiling, says, I didn't know that you pay so much attention to my account. Jia Cheng says, your studies are not complete yet, so why have you come here? Jialin says, I don't want to study. I want to be an idol now. Hearing this, Jia Cheng is very surprised. Here, Zuyun is attending to his client. Just then, Jialin comes to him and says to that lady, excuse me, can I take my boyfriend from here for a while? Then she holds Zuyun's hand and takes him from there. Zuyun asks her, what are you doing? So Jialin says, you didn't want to come on this blind date, right? So I am helping you. Zuyun says, I didn't come on any blind date. This is my client. At this, Jialin says sorry to him and then gives him a gift. Zuyun is looking at the gift when Jialin quickly takes a picture of him with her. Li Xiao tells her friend Yuan about Yehan. Yuan asks, what do you feel about him? Li Xiao says, whenever I am upset, Yehan somehow cheers me up. Yuan asks, so is it love or friendship? Li Xiao says, it's not friendship. Then Li Xiao is leaving from there. She is thinking about Yehan on the bus. Just then, she looks outside and sees Yehan's interview going on. Then we see Yuan. When she comes to her house, she finds Jia Cheng there. He asks her, why have you blocked me? Yuan says, it means I don't want to talk to you. Jia Cheng says, you know how worried I have been. Yuan says, I have told your mom that I am no longer in your life, and I will not disturb you. So you and your mom should also stop disturbing me. Jia Cheng asks, what happened after all? Yuan tells him, the variety show I was going to be in, I was replaced at the last moment. Jia Cheng asks, you think my mom is involved in this? But then Yuan leaves from there. At night, Li Xiao and Yehan are walking. Li Xiao tells him, I saw you on the big screen today. Yehan asks, was I looking good? Li Xiao says, I think we are from two different worlds. This is amazing. Yehan says, the person you are calling amazing is walking in this same street with you, but he wants that the world you are in, he should also be in that world. But you haven't given him any answer yet. Li Xiao says, next time we meet, I will definitely give you an answer. Saying this, she leaves from there. At night, Jia Cheng is standing outside Yuan's house, waiting for her. When she goes inside, he tells his driver, now you too, let's go from here. The next day, at the bus stop, Jilin sees Li Xiao and comes to her. Jilin is very happy to meet her. Then they both come to a coffee shop. Jilin says, now that I am here, my brother and you will get married. Li Xiao says, don't talk like that. Jilin asks, doesn't brother want to marry you? If that's the case, then I will help you. Li Xiao says, don't create any trouble for me. She looks ahead and sees Jia Cheng coming there, so she starts to leave. Just then, Jilin also comes to her and says, you said that brother doesn't know, so I will help you. Jia Cheng asks, in what thing were you going to help me? So Li Xiao quickly says, your competition is coming up, right? She is talking about that, then she leaves from there. Then Jia Cheng and Shuyan come to Lu Zheng and say, why did you gift us a water fountain? Shuyan had also received a water fountain. Lu Zheng asks them, why hasn't Yehan come yet? He should have also come to thank me. I gifted him a fountain too. Zuyan says, what do you think? We came here to say thanks to you. Then Sheng Yun asks Zuyan, Lu Zheng has ordered 20 water fountains from someone. Do you know who it is? But Zuyan doesn't know anything about this, so Sheng Yun tells him, some girl's sales performance must not have been good. That's why Lu Zheng must have helped her. That girl must be his college friend or someone else. Suyan says, don't you worry, I am on your side. Here, Jia Cheng comes to Li Xiao's house and is showing her some photos. Li Xiao is happily looking at the photos, but Jia Cheng is looking around the house. Li Xiao notices this and says, you didn't just come to give these photos, did you? Jia Cheng says, no, I just came like that. But Li Xiao understands that he has come looking for Yuan, so she says, I am alone at home today, and Yuan is not at home. Hearing this, Jia Cheng starts to leave, so Li Xiao says, if you want to meet Yuan, you should make a plan. He says, let's go for dinner together. We'll talk about it there. When they both go for dinner, Yehan is also there. Seeing him, Li Xiao says, why didn't you tell me that Yehan was also going to be here? They are both feeling awkward seeing each other. Jia Cheng asks Li Xiao, if you have any problem with Yehan, I will send him home. She says, no, it's okay. Jia Cheng tells her, okay, now solve my problem. How can I meet Yuan? Then Li Xiao starts giving him tips on how to meet Yuan. After listening to her tips, Jia Cheng says, this is all quite difficult. Li Xiao says, yes, loving is quite difficult. Many times you will be ignored. Many times you will not get the answer you want to hear. After their conversation ends, Yehan goes to drop Li Xiao at her home and asks her, you said that when we meet next time, you will reply to my question. Before Li Xiao could say anything, Yehan says, let it be. Don't tell me now. I'm afraid you might reject me again. Li Xiao says, I have been thinking about this for many days, but I am unable to make a decision. So, I just want to say that I cannot reply to that right now. Ye Han asks, is it because of Jia Cheng? Because you used to like him? Li Xiao says, now I have realized that I don't like him as much as I did before. Then she leaves from there. When Lu Zheng comes home, Sheng Yun asks him, from whom did you buy so many water fountains? He tells her, I have a friend. Her son is very sick. She didn't want to accept my money, so I helped her in this way. Li Xiao comes home and asks Yiwen, why did you reject Ji Cheng? Yiwen says, after meeting him, I realized what kind of guy I really want. The next day, Li Xiao is out with Jialin. Li Xiao asks her, do you still like Suyun? To this, she says yes. Suyun is outside the house and today it is snowing. Just then, Jialin comes to meet him and says, I am very happy today. Suyun asks, what is the reason for this happiness? Jialin says, because I am watching the snow with the person I like. Suyun asks, why have you come here in this cold? Jialin says, this is the first snow of the year. I want to watch it with you, so I came to you. Then they both stand together and watch the snow. On the other side, Jia Cheng is also telling Ye Han, it's snowing outside, and you watch the first snow of the year with the person you like. Ye Han says, but the one you like doesn't care about you. Jia Cheng says, I will soon find her and give her a surprise. Saying this, he leaves from there. Hearing his words, Ye Han also comes out to see the snow. He is standing near a flower shop, and a little further away, Li Xiao is also standing. They are standing on opposite sides of each other, so they can't see each other, and they are standing there, enjoying the snowfall. Here, when Yiwen comes to the salon, Jia Cheng is standing there. Seeing him, she leaves from there, so Jia Cheng follows her. She tells him, don't follow me. Jia Cheng says, even if you reject me 100 times, I will not give up on you. Then night falls. Ye Han is walking on the road. He says to himself, today is the last day of the year. This day is very important for everyone, but for me, there is nothing special. Then, he comes to a place where everyone is enjoying the new year. Li Xiao is also standing there. Ye Han is near her and wishes her a happy new year and says, I know you have thought well about me, and still you rejected me. I am going to tell you my New Year's resolution. He says, from now on, I am going to start a secret crush on someone, and that person is you. Li Xiao says, but a secret love should be kept in one's heart. Ye Han says, that might be your way of secretly loving someone, and my way is a little different from yours. Li Xiao says, you know, you are so weird. Ye Han says, yes, I know, but you don't need to do anything. You just support me. Li Xiao asks, how can I support you? Ye Han says, you can share some things with me sometimes. Then they both say, Happy New Year to each other. Jia Cheng had brought Yiwen with him for dinner. He tells her, I really like you very much. Yiwen says, I have no doubt about that, but will you marry me? Jia Cheng says, I'm sorry, but I can't answer that right now. I like you. Just for that reason, I can't make any fake promises to you. Yiwen says, I'm glad you told the truth. This is your life and your own decisions. I used to think that there's no need for a purpose while dating someone, but now my thinking has changed. As long as I was with you, I spent a very good time. And now I like you. Saying this, they both wish each other a Happy New Year. When Li Xiao gets off at the bus stop, Ye Han is standing right there in front of her. Seeing him, she thinks, he didn't contact me all day today. It seems he was going to surprise me at this moment. But how did he know that I was coming here? Happily, she starts walking towards Ye Han, but then she sees that Ye Han has come there to meet some other girl. Seeing this, she feels heartbroken, and she is leaving from there, upset. Just then, Ye Han calls her and asks, Where are you? Li Xiao says, I am at home. Ye Han says, I didn't know that your house has so many trees. And saying this, he comes in front of her. Seeing him there, Li Xiao is very surprised. Ye Han asks her, Were you following me? Li Xiao says, No, I was just passing by. Then I saw you. Ye Han says, Whatever you saw, it might not be true. She says, But you haven't contacted me for a long time. Ye Han says, If I didn't contact you, you could have contacted me too. Li Xiao says, Why would I contact you? Ye Han says, Because I have a crush on you, and you also follow me. Hearing his words, Li Xiao starts to leave, but he catches her and stops her and hugs her and then kisses her. Li Xiao quickly pushes him away and says, Now I am leaving from here. Ye Han says, Before you go, don't you want to know who that girl was? Hearing this, Li Xiao stops. Then Ye Han starts telling her, When I started my business, we had nothing. At that time, Ali and our other colleagues supported us a lot. Li Xiao says, But why are you telling me all this? Ye Han says, Because I like you. That's why I don't want you to have any misunderstanding about me. Then when Li Xiao comes to her house, Jialin calls her and says, I want to eat Italian food, so come and meet me at the restaurant. When Li Xiao comes there, Jia Cheng is there. He says to her, Have you come here alone? I have also come alone. Let's have dinner together. After having dinner, Li Xiao goes to the washroom. Her bag is left there. Just then, Jia Cheng sees that there is his photo in Li Xiao's purse. Seeing this, he feels quite strange. Then he asks Ye Han about this. Does Li Xiao like me? Ye Han says, how would I know that? Jia Cheng says, you two are quite close. Then you should know. On his way from there, Ye Han is thinking about this. When Jia Cheng comes home, he finds out that his sister Jialin also knows that Li Xiao likes him. He tells her, did you give her that photo of me? And did you send her to the restaurant today? Jialin says, yes, I did all this. But you shouldn't tell her that you know about this. Jia Cheng feels very bad hearing all this. Then, the next morning, Ye Han comes to meet Li Xiao and asks her, do you still like Jia Cheng? Li Xiao says, how many times have I told you not to talk to me like that? Ye Han asks, have you ever had a crush on me? Li Xiao says, yes, for a moment. Then Ye Han asks her to go somewhere with him, but Li Xiao had to go to some competition, so she refuses and leaves from there. Seeing her leave, Ye Han feels bad. Then Ye Han also comes to the competition where Li Xiao is. Jia Cheng is also there, and their team wins. After the match is over, Ye Han holds her hand and brings her outside and says, I can't see you being a fool anymore. Li Xiao asks, what happened? Did Jia Cheng find out? Ye Han says, I don't know, but yesterday he was asking me if you like him. Hearing this, Li Xiao feels heartbroken. Ye Han says, he told me not to tell you. He is my friend and I like you. So it was very difficult for me too. After hearing his words, Li Xiao leaves from there. The next day, Ye Han comes to Yuan and asks her about Li Xiao. Yuan tells him, when Li Xiao came home last night, she seemed quite upset. And this morning too, she left home without having breakfast. Ye Han says, I don't know what happened, but please comfort her. Yuan asks, why are you telling me to do this? Ye Han says, because I like her. Now Jia Cheng comes to meet Li Xiao and says sorry to her. She says, you don't need to say sorry for this, and I won't say sorry to you either, because I used to like you, and now I just want you and Yuan to be together again. Jia Cheng says, I don't want you to be upset, and I don't want to lose such a good friend like you. Li Xiao says, our friendship is very good, but I ruined everything. I don't know how I will face you and Yuan. The next morning when Li Xiao leaves her house, Ye Han is following her from a distance. He even travels with her on the bus. Li Xiao's stop comes, but she is so upset that she doesn't know. Ye Han rings the bell for her, and then Li Xiao quickly gets off the bus. Jialin meets her there. She says to her, Jia Cheng knows everything. If I am not mistaken, this must have happened because of you. Jialin says, please forgive me. Li Xiao asks, how did all this happen? Jialin tells her, I had put Jia Cheng's photo in your wallet. But how would I know that he would check your wallet? Li Xiao was very angry with her. She takes his photo out of her wallet and says, you take this with you. After that, Ye Han comes to pick her up and says, your eyes look very swollen. How long will you keep crying like this for Jia Cheng? Li Xiao says, I wasn't crying because of Jia Cheng. Ye Han asks, then were you crying because of me? She says, it's all my fault. I have ruined our friendship. The next day, Jia Cheng meets Zuyan and says to him, shall we have dinner together tonight? But Zuyan refuses. So Jia Cheng says, why are you behaving so strangely today? And saying this, he leaves from there. After he leaves, Jialin comes to him and says, why haven't you been replying to my calls and messages for so many days? Zuyan says angrily, don't you understand that I don't dislike the phone, but you? Jialin says, I don't care about any of this. The next day, Li Xiao comes to meet her grandma. Grandma is very happy to see her. Here, Ye Han is worried about her, wondering where she is gone. Then he calls her. Her grandma picks up the phone. She says, if you want to talk to Li Xiao, I will call her. But Ye Han says, no, I want to meet her and talk. But can you give me your home address? Grandma gives him her home address. Then, Ye Han tells his friends, Li Xiao has gone to her hometown, and he is about to go to meet her. But Jia Cheng says, no, I want to talk to her. And they both start fighting. So Lu Zheng calms them both down, saying, you two stop fighting. Then Jia Cheng and Suyan are both going to Li Xiao's hometown together, and they are both angry with each other. When they reach there, Li Xiao asks them, what have you two come here for? Jia Cheng says, you left our team's coaching, and you didn't even tell me about it. Li Xiao tells them, I have come here to rest, and who gave you two my home address? Just then, Grandma comes and tells them that she had given them the address. Then Grandma invites them all to have a meal together, so they also sit down to eat. After eating, Ye Han and Grandma leave from there. Jia Cheng says to Li Xiao, forgive me. I ignored your feelings and I couldn't even find out about your feelings. Li Xiao says, I hid all this from you myself, it's not your fault. Jia Cheng says, if you feel awkward meeting me, then we won't meet anymore. Then Li Xiao comes out and meets Ye Han. He says to her, are you upset? Li Xiao says, no, I am not upset. I just want to say goodbye to my past. Ye Han asks, am I also included in that? do you want to say goodbye to me too? But Li Xiao doesn't answer this and leaves from there. Ye Han thinks that maybe Li Xiao doesn't like him, and the next day, he and Jia Cheng come back to their homes, and both get busy with their work. Then Li Xiao also comes back home, and they both meet near the flower shop, but they both ignore each other and walk away as if they don't recognize each other. Ye Han thinks in his mind, I have experienced separation many times. If practice makes a man perfect, then I have become an expert in it. Then Li Xiao comes to Jia Cheng, gives him something and says, this is our local honey. Grandma said to give this to you, and she was saying sorry to me because last time she sent you both back without giving anything. Jia Cheng says, Grandma doesn't need to worry. Li Xiao says, this packet is for Ye Han, you give this to him. Then, Jia Cheng comes out to see her off. Just then, Ye Han passes by them. Jia Cheng tries to stop him, but he doesn't stop. So he says to Li Xiao, did you two agree to ignore each other? Li Xiao says, yes, and then leaves from there. Then Jia Cheng comes inside and says to Ye Han, you had feelings for her in your heart, then why are you ignoring her like this? Ye Han says, she wants everything to be like before. That's why I am doing this. And besides, she has rejected me. I am also a human. I also get hurt. Jia Cheng feels bad for him. Here, Li Xiao is sitting very upset. So Yiwen asks her, what happened to you? Li Xiao tells her, I have said goodbye to Ye Han. Still, I don't know why I am not feeling good. Yiwen says, it's because you like him. But Li Xiao does not accept this. The next day, Ye Han and Jia Cheng come to attend a fashion show. Li Xiao also comes there to support Yiwen. Ye Han says to Jia Cheng, you know Yiwen is making a comeback. Aren't you going to say hello to her? And if you don't go, I will. Saying this, he starts to go to her, but then he sees Li Xiao and then sits there. When Jia Cheng sees Li Xiao, he understands why Ye Han is not going now. Jia Cheng sees her, says hello, and says, why don't we go for dinner after the show? Li Xiao says, we will decide that after the show. Then the show starts. Everyone feels very good seeing Yiwen walking confidently. After walking, Yiwen's leg starts to hurt very badly. She is about to fall when Jia Cheng goes and supports her. Seeing him there, Yiwen is very shocked. Then he carries her in his arms and leaves from there, and drops her at her house, and says, if you ever need me, you can call me. Then Jia Cheng leaves from there. Jia Cheng invites Li Xiao for dinner. When she comes there, everyone says hello to her except Ye Han. And as soon as she sits there, Ye Han gets up from there and leaves. Jia Cheng tries to stop him, but he doesn't stop. Seeing this, Li Xiao feels heartbroken. Then Jia Cheng comes to Ye Han and says, you shouldn't have done that. Ye Han says, why did you suddenly invite her? And then he gets angry and leaves from there. Jia Cheng comes to Li Xiao and apologizes to her. She says, it's okay, and then she also leaves from there. And outside, she comes to Ye Han and says, because of my hesitation, I hurt you, so I apologize to you. I couldn't understand how to express myself. I needed time and space for this, and I have thought something about you. She's about to say something more when Ye Han says, if you are in a difficult situation because of me, then I am sorry for that. But I can't be normal, because I am also trying very hard to accept this separation. Ye Han says, I am not in my 20s, but my age is 33. Whatever I have done for you has been my best effort so far, but you didn't even notice my efforts. On the contrary, because of my efforts, you're facing a difficult situation. That's why I want to let you go now. This is the time and space I can give you. Hearing these words, Li Xiao becomes emotional, and Ye Han leaves from there. Then Jia Cheng comes to his house and says to him, have you really given up? And what if Li Xiao changes her mind? Ye Han says, she will not change her mind because of me. Rather, the emptiness she feels after I leave, she will change her mind because of that. Jia Cheng asks, is there any difference in that? Ye Han says, yes, but she will not understand it. Yiwen comes to Li Xiao's room and says, what happened to you? Li Xiao says, nothing. I just couldn't sleep properly last night. Yiwen asks, were you thinking about Ye Han? Li Xiao does not give any answer to this. Yiwen says, if you keep thinking like this, nothing will become clear. You should go and talk to him. Li Xiao says, I had decided that I would give up. On the other side, Ye Han is sitting and talking with Jia Cheng when Yiwen calls him and says, Li Xiao is very sick. Can you go home and see her? I have some work right now and I can't call anyone else. Saying this, she cuts the call. Ye Han didn't feel like going, but still, he goes there and sees. Li Xiao was still sleeping, so he sits next to her and says, are you okay? Li Xiao is very surprised to see him there. Ye Han checks her temperature and says, you have a fever, and then he brings water for her. Just then Li Xiao says, no, I don't have a fever. I was just sleeping. That's why my forehead is a bit warm. Ye Han says, if you don't have a fever, then I am leaving from here. And he starts to leave. But Li Xiao moves forward to stop him, and then she spills the water on Ye Han. Li Xiao is going to get a towel for him, but Yehan doesn't stay there and immediately leaves. At night, Li Xiao is sitting outside his company waiting for him. She has also had a lot to drink. When Yehan comes to her, she says to him, "How can it be so easy for you to say goodbye to me? For me, it's not easy at all." Yehan says, "Can't you stop talking about all this?" Just then, Li Xiao grabs him and kisses him, and then starts to leave from there. But then, Yehan grabs her hand and stops her and kisses her. Then Li Xiao asks him, "Do you like me?" He doesn't reply to this, so Li Xiao says, "Don't you like me anymore? But now I have started to like you. Tell me, what should I do now?" And she faints right there. Yehan picks her up and comes to drop her at her house. Yiwen asks him, "Is she still alive?" Yehan says, "Yes, she is still alive. But tomorrow, when she regains consciousness, she might not want to live." Hearing this, Yiwen starts laughing. Yehan leaves her and goes. The next morning when Li Xiao regains consciousness, Yiwen says to her, "Do you remember what you did last night?" Then she remembers that when Yehan came to drop her off, she kept telling him not to say goodbye to her. "I like you very much." And thinking about this, Li Xiao feels very embarrassed. Yehan is sitting in a coffee shop, drinking coffee, and he is happily thinking that Li Xiao also likes him. Just then, Li Xiao comes to him and says, "Whatever I did last night, I apologize for it." Yehan says, "Last night you confessed your love to me. Are you saying sorry to me for that?" Li Xiao says, "Whatever I did, I say sorry for all of it." Yehan says, "Last night you were drunk. That's why you said the things that were in your heart. And as soon as morning came, you are acting smart. What do you think? If I accept your sorry, you will find peace. You will pretend as if nothing happened." Yehan says, "You were drunk at that time, so I will assume that I didn't hear anything you said. And now you should confess your love when you are fully conscious." Now Li Xiao comes home and is worried, thinking about how she will confess her love to Yehan again. Then she comes to the garden and sees a couple there. The girl is proposing to her boyfriend, saying, "I like you very much." Li Xiao thinks, given Yehan's personality, I can't just confess my love to him by saying that. Then at night, Li Xiao decorates her house for Yehan. When Yehan comes there, she says to him, "My love is more colorful than these flowers." Saying this, she throws flowers at him. Just then, Yehan sees that a fire has started there. So he says to her, "Are you going to commit suicide with me here?" Then we see that all this was Li Xiao's imagination, and she was standing in the garden thinking all this. Then she comes outside Yehan's office. Yehan is leaving from there, so she follows him. Yehan knows about this. Then he comes to a store, and Li Xiao also follows him there. But suddenly, she stops seeing Yehan. She is looking for him here and there when he comes behind her. Li Xiao pretends as if she has just seen Yehan. Yehan says, "Have you become a stalker now?" Li Xiao says, "But why are you saying that?" Yehan says, "You have been following me for the last hour. But still, you are not admitting it." Li Xiao says, "I just came here to see you, but I don't know why I followed you." Yehan says, "You are a very strange person." Li Xiao starts to leave from there, but Yehan doesn't let her go and says, "Why are you getting so nervous?" Li Xiao says, "I am getting nervous because of my feelings." Saying this, she runs away from there. Li Xiao is sitting worried at home when Yiwen comes to her. Li Xiao asks her, "Did you talk to Jia Cheng?" Yiwen says, "Jia Cheng didn't contact me. Maybe he doesn't want to meet me anymore." Li Xiao says, "If he didn't come to meet you, you go to him." Yiwen says, "I don't know what I should say to him." Li Xiao says, "Don't worry about him. Jia Cheng will forgive you. He is not like Yehan, who creates problems over small things." Then we see Zuyan, who has just come out after taking a shower. Just then he sees Jolene in his bedroom. He asks, "What are you doing here?" Jolene says, "I was just making your bed." Zuyan says, "You haven't fitted cameras here, have you?" Jelen says, "The cameras are fitted in my eyes. Whose focus is always on you?" Hearing this, Zuyan starts laughing. Then before leaving from there, Jalen says to him, "You can also come to my room." Zuyan says, "Stop talking and go to sleep." The next day, when Yehan comes to his company, Li Xiao comes to him. She had come to meet him, but then her foot slips and she's about to fall. But Yehan catches her and asks, "What are you doing here?" Li Xiao says, "Have you seen my true heart now?" Yehan says, "Have you gone mad?" Then she comes inside with Yehan and says, "I thought about many ways, but I think this is the right one." Saying this, she gives Yehan a letter. Yehan starts to open the letter, but she says, "Read this after I leave." And then she leaves from there. Then Yehan opens the letter and starts reading it. In it, Li Xiao had written, "Destiny brought me to you, and then I fell in love with you." Li Xiao had cut all these lines from Yehan's own magazine and attached them to this letter. Li Xiao had further written, "We are close to each other, but at the same time, we are far from each other. But my heart has always been with you. Whatever has been in my heart, I have shown it to you when I cried for you, laughed for you, and when I was worried for you, and when I had to suffer for you. My true heart has always been with you. It has never left you. That's why I am giving it to you, and from now on, it will belong to you." Yehan feels very good after reading this letter. Here, Yuan comes to meet Jia Cheng. There, Jia Cheng is hugging his sister Jelen, but Yuan doesn't know about this, and seeing Jia Cheng with a girl, she misunderstands him. Sitting at home, Li Xiao is repeatedly looking at her phone and says, "Why hasn't Yehan's message come yet? Is he not satisfied with my confession?" Then she herself calls Yehan and asks him, "Have you decided anything?" Yehan says, "It's only been one day. I can't decide so quickly. When I decide, I will call you." Saying this, he cuts the call. Li Xiao is very angry with him, wondering how much time he needs to think. The next day, Yuan and Jia Cheng come to Li Xiao and tell her, "Everything is clear between us." Now they are in a relationship again, and they also start saying sorry to her. So Li Xiao says, "Do you think I still have feelings for Jia Cheng in my heart?" Yuan says, "No, it's not like that." Li Xiao says, "I am not worried about that. I have some other problem." Then she asks Jia Cheng about Yehan, and he tells her, Yehan is going on a business trip for 2 to 3 days. Hearing this, Li Xiao immediately leaves from there to meet Yehan. Here, Yehan is getting his luggage put in the car, and before leaving, he thinks of meeting Li Xiao. From the other side, Li Xiao is also coming to meet him, and they both meet near the flower shop. Li Xiao asks him, "The letter I gave you? Have you read it?" Yehan says yes to this. So Li Xiao says, "If you have read it, then why haven't you replied to me? Do you like me or not? You should say something." Yehan comes to her, hugs her, and says, "I was always trying to win your love, but now I think I have succeeded." Li Xiao asks, "Will you be my boyfriend now?" Yehan says, "I can't even dare to say no." Hearing this, Li Xiao is very happy and hugs him. Then, Yehan tells her that it's time for his flight, and then he says bye to her and leaves from there. On the other side, at night, Jilin is coming to her home when it starts raining. Zuyan comes to her with an umbrella and says, "Come on, let's go home together now." She's happy to see Zuyan here. When she returns home, she has caught a cold. Just then, she looks at the table and sees that Zuyan had made medicine for her, and there was also a letter with it on which it was written, "After taking the medicine, you should rest." Reading this note, Jilin says to herself, "Zuyan cares for me so much. I should wait for him now." Then, we see Jia Cheng and Yuan. Yuan says to him, "I didn't know what happiness was before. Whenever I saw a goal in my life, I would work my hardest to achieve it. And when my mom was sick in my childhood, my dad wouldn't do anything. I had to do everything myself. Everyone used to say that I am a very strong girl, but I had no other choice but to be strong." Jia Cheng says, "You are indeed very strong, but you don't need to be strong every time, and certainly not when you are with me. And this time, it doesn't matter where you want to go now. You just remember that you are not alone anymore. I am with you." Then we see Li Xiao, who is going somewhere by bus. Just then, she gets a video call from Yehan. She's talking to him. When she gets off at the bus stop, she finds Yehan there. Li Xiao is very shocked to see him and says, "You were supposed to come tomorrow, right?" Yehan says, "Yes, but I was missing you a lot." And then he hugs her. Yehan says to her, "Why don't we arrange a party tomorrow?" Li Xiao asks, "A party for what?" So Yehan says, "In that party, we will announce that we are in a relationship now." Just then, Suyan comes there. Seeing him, Li Xiao lets go of Yehan's hand and says to Suyan, "It's not what you're thinking. We were just walking here." Yehan finds it strange to hear her respond like that. Then Yehan comes home and calls Li Xiao, asking, "When Suyan asked you about us, why did you say that we are not in a relationship?" Li Xiao says, "Did you just call me to ask this? This is not a big deal." Yehan says, "For me, this is a big deal." Li Xiao says, "I didn't tell him because I think we should tell our friends about this at a good time." Yehan says, "Okay, we won't tell anyone about this for now." The next day, they both meet in a hotel, but just then, all their friends also arrive there and see them together. On their way back, Li Xiao says to Yehan, "This was the most embarrassing date of my life." The next day, Li Xiao comes to meet him on a bicycle. Seeing her, Yehan says, "Why are you acting like a ruffian today?" At this, Li Xiao comes to him and kisses him and says, "I forgot one important thing." Then she takes out her phone and takes a selfie of herself with Yehan, and then takes Yehan's phone and sets this photo as the wallpaper on his phone. Seeing it, Yehan says, "Anyone who sees this wallpaper will say, 'Look how cute a couple they are.'" Then they both go on a dinner date together. The next day, Li Xiao's grandma comes to meet her. Li Xiao tells her about Yehan, that he is now her boyfriend. Hearing this, she is very happy and says, "Yehan is a very good boy." She asks grandma to stay here for a few days, but she says, "I have some work at home right now. When it is done, I will come again." Then Li Xiao goes to the flower shop. She really likes the sunflowers there. She takes them and comes to Yehan and says, "These flowers are for you." Yehan is surprised to see those flowers and asks, "Why are you giving me these flowers?" Li Xiao says, "There is no reason. I just felt like it, so I brought these flowers for you." Then Li Xiao comes to Lu Zheng's shop to drink coffee. Just then Sheng Yun arrives there, and she thinks that Li Xiao is Lu Zheng's girlfriend. She is suspecting him. Just then, Yehan also arrives there. Lu Zheng tells Sheng Yun, she is Yehan's girlfriend. Yehan also says, yes, he is telling the truth. So Sheng-yun says, this is not the first time you friends have tried to save him together. You are all lying for him. Li Xiao says, you people stop arguing. And then to convince Sheng-yun, she kisses Ye-han in front of her, and then asks her, do you believe me now? Sheng-yun says sorry to her. Li Xiao and Ye-han leave from there. Li Xiao says to him, Sheng-yun is very powerful. She rules over everyone. I should also learn something from her. Ye-han says, oh no, you don't need to do that. Then Ye-han comes to his office and is working. After some time, Li Xiao calls him and asks, are you busy? Ye-han says, no, I am thinking that I should also learn to ride a bicycle. You are a cycling coach. You can teach me well. Li Xiao says, yes, I think there is no one in the world whom I cannot teach cycling. Then they both come to the park together. But while riding the bicycle there, Ye-han is not able to maintain his balance properly and he drops the bicycle. Then Li Xiao says, I will sit behind and hold the handle and then you try to ride properly. Ye-han says, okay, you hold it tight and don't let go of the bicycle. Then Li Xiao holds the bicycle from behind and Ye-han starts riding the bicycle. When Li Xiao sees that he is riding the bicycle properly, she lets him go. But Ye-han goes only a short distance and falls. Li Xiao quickly comes to him and asks, are you okay? But he is not saying anything, so Li Xiao kisses his lips. And then he gets up and says, now I am feeling much better. Then, after some time, Ye-han takes Li Xiao to meet his mom. Mom says to Li Xiao, I like you very much. I am very happy to see such a nice girl with my son. And if Ye-han ever mistreats you, you tell me. I will punish him for you. Li Xiao says, don't you worry. Ye-han treats me very well. The next day, Ye-han comes to her house to meet her. Li Xiao asks about his past life, so Ye-han tells her, I used to like a girl. I also proposed to her and said that she could take as much time as she needed to reply. But when Ye-han went to her house the next day, she had left the house. Li Xiao says, did she not tell you anything before leaving? Ye-han says, yes, if she had told me, I would not have had to suffer for so long. The next day, when Ye-han comes to meet her again, she is very upset. Li Xiao tells him, I thought about this yesterday, and I think that you two were in a relationship for so long, and if she had not left you, you would never have come to me. And I was thinking that if your ex-girlfriend came back into your life again, you would leave me. Ye-han says, that's why I didn't want to tell you anything, but don't you worry, I will never leave you. Then he kisses her right there. Then the next night, they both come out for dinner. Li Xiao says, I really enjoyed having a barbecue while watching the stars here. But how did you suddenly feel like coming here today? Ye-han says, I just wanted to spend time with you like this. Because when I am with you, I forget all my problems. The next day, Li Xiao is standing outside Ye-han's office waiting for him. Just then, Ye-han's ex-girlfriend Song Chen is also there. When Ye-han comes out, Li Xiao says hi to him. Just then, Ye-han's eyes fall on his ex-girlfriend, and he becomes very serious. When Li Xiao sees him looking behind, she understands that that girl is his ex-girlfriend. Song Chen comes to Ye-han and says sorry to him. Ye-han says, by coming here today, you have hurt not only me but also my girlfriend. She says, I didn't know your girlfriend was here. Ye-han says, if you really want to say sorry to me, then don't ever come in front of me again. She says, don't talk to me like that. We were in a relationship for so long. Ye-han says, what do you think? You can come and go in someone's life as you please. And you came to say sorry to me, right? I didn't accept your sorry. Now you can leave from here. And now I don't want to see you in my life ever again. Saying this, Ye-han takes Li Xiao and leaves from there. Coming home, Li Xiao asks him, have you ever met her before? Ye-han says, yes. Li Xiao says, then why didn't you tell me about this? Ye-han says, I didn't want to bother you by telling you about this, but it won't happen again. Then, coming to her house, Li Xiao tells Yuan about this. She seems very upset, so Yuan tells her, this is a normal thing. You have to be a little strong. The next day, Li Xiao comes to Ye-han's house to meet him. She seems very happy, so Ye-han asks her, what happened to you? Li Xiao says, my boyfriend knows how to cook, so I am very happy. Then Li Xiao tells him, I have also brought a gift for you. She shows him the gift, which has a photo of them both when they had gone on a trip. Li Xiao says, this is my favorite picture. Ye-han asks, why is that? Li Xiao says, because in this photo I am smiling, and you are looking at me. Ye-han says, I also like this picture very much. I will keep it in my bedroom so that whenever I open my eyes I can see it. Ye-han says, but this photo is from when we were not together. Li Xiao says, yes, we were not together, but at that time you had a crush on me. Thinking about this makes me happy. Then Ye-han kisses her. Li Xiao says, you should make dinner first. Then they both start working together. Then the next day when Yuan comes home, Li Xiao seems quite upset. Yuan asks her, are you upset because of Ye-han's ex-girlfriend? Li Xiao says, I don't know, but I can't understand anything. Yuan says, don't you worry. I don't think Ye-han will cheat on you. Li Xiao says, I know, but still, I am not feeling good, and I can't even tell Ye-han about this. Yuan tells her, whatever you are feeling, you should tell Ye-han about it. If you don't talk to him, your relationship relationship will get spoiled. The next day, when Yehan is in the office, Song Chen comes with a gift for him, but Yehan refuses to take it. So she says, "This is not an expensive gift. I had baked some cookies. I have brought those for you." Yehan thanks her for this. Just then his assistant tells him, "Our shoot is going to happen in 2 hours, but the photographer who was supposed to come, he won't be able to come today, and we haven't been able to contact any other photographer either." So Song Chen says, "If he is not coming, then I will help you with this." Yehan's heart was not agreeing to this, but he had no other option, so he agrees. Here, Li Xiao is thinking of surprising Yehan, and to give him that surprise, she reaches the location of his shooting. There, Yehan is describing the pictures with his ex-girlfriend. Seeing them both together, Li Xiao gets very upset, and the surprise she had brought for Yehan, she puts it down there and leaves from there in anger. Yehan describes the pictures and says to Song Chen, "Whatever your fees are, you can talk to my assistant about it." But Song Chen starts reminding him how they both had shot for his first magazine. Yehan says, "That is all in the past, and now we should look at the present. And anyway, you are no longer a part of my life, and I don't want to make you a part of my life now." Song Chen says, "I wanted to explain a lot to you, and I wanted to say sorry." Yehan says, "These are all old things. It doesn't matter to me anymore. My only wish is that my current life should not be ruined because of anyone." Song Chen says, "I don't want to ruin your life." Yehan says, "Unknowingly, but you have done so. I have a girlfriend, and I care about her feelings. That's why I don't want her to be upset because of us. And if you really feel sorry for me, then don't try to meet me again." Saying this, Yehan leaves from there. When Yehan sees some gifts kept there, he understands that Li Xiao had come there. He quickly goes out and starts looking for her around, but she had left from there a long time ago. So Yehan comes to her house to meet her. Li Xiao says, "Why have you come here?" Yehan says to her, "You had brought a gift for me there, then why didn't you meet me?" Li Xiao says, "I didn't want to disturb you two. That's why I left from there." Yehan says, "Our photographer didn't come today, that's why we had to take her help. But today I have made everything clear to her. From now on, I will never meet Song Chen again." Li Xiao says, "I myself don't know what is happening to me, but whenever I see her, I feel very uncomfortable. You two were a good couple in the past. You also have many good memories. Your tastes are also similar." Yehan says, "Look at me. There is no one else in my eyes but you." Hearing this, Li Xiao smiles, and Yehan kisses her. At night, Yehan has come to meet another investor from his industry. After some time, Song Chen also comes there. Yehan is very shocked to see her here, and then, after some time, he leaves the meeting and goes from there. So Song Chen also follows him. Yehan says to her, "I had made everything clear, so can't you stay away from my work?" She says, "I am only helping you here." Yehan says, "I don't need your help." Song Chen says, "If your magazine is successful today, then my hard work is also involved in it. That's why I can't see it fail today." Yehan says, "You are very selfish. You always do what your heart wants." Then Yehan says, "You suddenly left me. I tried to find you like crazy for a long time." Song Chen says, "I know I did wrong, but at that time, I needed another opportunity." Yehan says, "But I never stopped you from fulfilling your dreams." She says, "I didn't want to complete my dream by sacrificing your dream. I knew that if I went abroad, you would give up on your work and come with me. That's why I went without telling you." Song Chen, saying sorry, hugs him. Just then, Li Xiao also comes there and sees them like that. She gets angry and starts to leave when Yehan sees her leaving and runs to her. Li Xiao angrily says to him, "You said that you would never meet her again. Then what are you doing here?" Yehan says, "Let me explain. It's not what you are thinking." But Li Xiao doesn't listen to anything he says and says, "I can't tolerate this anymore." And she breaks up with him and leaves from there. Yehan calls her, but she doesn't receive his call. He waits for her all night outside her house and tries to talk to her by going to her house in the morning. But Li Xiao does not agree to talk to him. The next day, Yehan is standing in front of Li Xiao's house with flowers and is waiting for her. Just then, he finds out that Li Xiao has gone to a friend's wedding. So he goes there to meet her and brings her to a side and tries to talk to her. He says, "Whatever you saw that day was just a misunderstanding." Li Xiao says, "I saw you two hugging." Yehan says, "She had left me. That's why she hugged me while saying sorry." Li Xiao asks, "Then everything must be fine between you two?" Yehan says, "No, I will never forgive her, and I only love you. So don't break up with me." Li Xiao says, "I trust you a lot, but still, I have been disappointed many times." Then she says, "My friend's wedding is about to start, so I am going." And she leaves from there. The next day, Song Chen is taking some pictures with her son in the park. After some time, when she looks, her son is not visible there, so she gets worried. Here, Yehan is waiting for Li Xiao with flowers. Just then, Song Chen calls him and says, "Please help me. My son is lost somewhere." At this, Yehan says, "Okay, I am coming right now." Just then, Li Xiao is happily coming towards Yehan, but Yehan leaves the flowers there and goes from there. Seeing this, she feels heartbroken. He comes to Song Chen. She tells him, I have been looking for my son for the last hour, but he is nowhere to be found. Yehan says, we will look for him separately. If we don't find him, we will call the police. Then they both start looking for him in the park, but he is nowhere to be found. Just then, someone calls Song Chen and tells her that her son has been found and he is at the police station. Then they both go to the police station. Then Yehan drops them both home and starts to leave from there. Just then, Song Chen thanks Yehan and says, I shouldn't have put you in trouble again. Yehan says, it's okay. This was a difficult situation. Song Chen says, when I left this country, I used to feel very lonely. Then I met my son's dad. I thought I could trust him, but our relationship was not very good. When he was 2 years old, we got divorced. At that time, I thought that since I have a career, I would be able to take good care of my son. But now I am realizing that I am not a good mom. Now I understand that some things only a dad can give to his son. Yehan asks, but why are you telling me all this? Song Chen says, after coming here, I have realized that my feelings for you are still exactly the same as they were before. I can't run away from these feelings, nor do I want to live a life full of regrets. Song Chen says, I have kept that ring safe till now. And now it's my turn to ask you this question. Yehan says, if you are looking for a dad for your son and support for yourself, then you have come to the wrong person. I admit that I blamed you for a long time, but now I don't blame you. And that's because now I have no feelings for you in my heart. Song Chen asks, do you need some time for this relationship? Yehan says, that's not necessary. I have someone I want to marry. Song Chen says, do you like her that much? Yehan says, yes, and this is our ending. And now I am taking my ring back. What was meant to happen has happened. Then he is calling Li Xiao, but she is cutting his call. Yehan messages her and asks, are you asleep? Li Xiao says, yes, and also writes goodnight to him. Li Xiao is trying to sleep, but she is not able to sleep. So she starts checking Song Chen's official page. The next day, she comes to meet Song Chen. Song Chen shows her a picture and tells her, I took this picture when Yehan proposed to me, and that year, we were both going to go abroad together. Li Xiao asks, if you both had gone abroad, what would have happened to the magazine? Song Chen says, that's why I went alone. And if you were in my place, what would you have done? Li Xiao says, if I were in your place, I would never have disappointed Yehan. Song Chen says, I was very curious about what kind of girl Yehan would fall in love with. But you are more determined than I thought. This is the reason why Yehan chose you. Then Song Chen says, I want to say sorry to you. Yesterday I was very upset, so I asked for help from Yehan. Then after coming from there, Li Xiao calls Yehan and says, I want to talk to you. And then she comes to his house. Yehan is not there. So she looks for him and comes to his living room, and she sees the wedding ring kept there. Seeing the date written on it, she gets angry. Then she sits there and waits for him. When Yehan comes home, Li Xiao asks him, where did you go yesterday? Yehan tells her that he had gone to help Song Chen yesterday. Li Xiao says, it means Song Chen didn't lie to me. Yehan asks, did you go to meet her? Li Xiao says, yes, I went to meet her. She told me a lot about your past. Then she asks, the wedding ring that is kept there, is that also a part of your past? Yehan tells her, I brought this ring from her because I don't want her to keep any of my things with her. And if you say so, I will throw this ring away right now because this ring holds no importance for me anymore. Li Xiao says, I don't care where you went yesterday, and I don't care about this ring either. I just don't understand why your ex-girlfriend always comes into my life. And she angrily says, why is everything in my life related to Song Chen? Yehan says, don't you worry, I'll explain. Li Xiao says, no, don't do anything now. Is explaining the only thing left in our relationship? Yehan hugs her and says, don't you worry. But Li Xiao pushes him away and says, Song Chen told me that you were going to give up on your magazine and go abroad with her. You loved her very much, but this is all your past. But today, when I saw that ring, I realized that I am not that strong. I can't pretend as if nothing has happened after knowing all this. I can't deal with this situation anymore. Yehan says to her, please don't say that. Li Xiao says, let's break up. This happened today. Something else will happen tomorrow. You two loved each other very much, and you were also very hurt. She must have an influence on you. But I am like those flowers that you can throw in the dustbin without any hesitation. You will leave me in the end. Yehan says, it's not like that. I won't be distracted by her anymore. I can't change my past, but I can prove to you that I will be loyal to you for the rest of my life. But Li Xiao says, I can't trust your words anymore, and I can't be in this relationship anymore. Saying this, she leaves from there. Yehan is very hurt to hear this. When Li Xiao reaches home, there were flowers kept there. There was a note in it, which said, Yehan had sent you these flowers in the morning. Li Xiao picks up those flowers and throws them in the dustbin, and sits there and starts crying. On the other side, Yehan is also very upset. The next day, Li Xiao is going somewhere when she meets Yehan on the way. She's ignoring him and going when Yehan stops her and says, we need to talk. Li Xiao says, whatever I had to say, I have said it all, and now we have broken up. Yehan says, but I don't understand why we broke up. Since I met you, I have never tried to cheat on you. Now you want to end everything. And if you were in my place, what would you do? Li Xiao says, whatever you have done, I have seen it all. But if you were in my place, would you accept all this? Ye Han asks, did you never trust me? Li Xiao says, I trusted you. I am your girlfriend, so I thought I would win this battle. I thought our relationship was stronger, but I was wrong. I have seen that since Song Chen has come here, you have become confused between your past and present. I don't know how I can trust you in this situation, and I also don't know how we can continue this relationship. Ye Han says, as long as we are in a relationship, we can continue it. Li Xiao says, I think being in this relationship is very painful. I feel very bad seeing myself like this. I hate myself, but I don't know how to control myself. The kind of personality I hate the most, I have become that because of you. Hearing all this, Ye Han feels heartbroken and says, if that's really the case, then we should break up. I will not come to you again. Take care of yourself. Saying this, Ye Han leaves from here. When Zuyan finds out about this, he says, everything has gone wrong because of Song Chen. Ye Han says, I have tried to explain to Li Xiao many times, but if she doesn't trust me, then what can I do? The next day, Li Xiao comes to her hometown, to her grandma's place, but their store is closed. She finds out that her grandma has sold her house and has gone to a nursing home. Li Xiao comes to the nursing home to meet her grandma. Grandma tells her, I am very sick. That's why I came here. It will take some time for my illness to heal. Li Xiao, crying, says, why didn't you tell me about this? You are sick, but still, you had to go to the hospital alone. Grandma says, there are many people here to take care of me, and there are also people of my age here with whom I spend a good time. Then Li Xiao, crying, hugs her. Li Xiao and Ye Han get busy in their respective lives. Ye Han says, the more I try to forget Li Xiao, the stronger her memories become. Li Xiao likes sunflowers very much, so Ye Han sends her a bouquet of sunflowers, but he didn't put any card in it, so Li Xiao doesn't know who sent them. Then we see Zuyan and Jelen. Zuyan has come to meet Jelen's parents and says to them, I hope you will approve of our relationship. In all these years, I will try my best to give Jelen true love. Then Jelen's parents agree to their marriage. Then after many days, Ye Han comes to meet his friends. They are all smiling, seeing him. They say, he seems happier than before. Ye Han says, Suyan looks the happiest. He is also getting married. Suyan says, it's not like that. I am happy because you came. The next day, Li Xiao's cycling team has won the game, and they are all very happy. Just then, Ye Han comes there and congratulates Li Xiao and asks, how are you? Li Xiao says, I am fine. How are you? Ye Han says, I am not fine at all. Just then, someone starts calling Li Xiao to the stage. She is leaving from there when Ye Han says to her, we will meet again. Li Xiao leaves from there without saying anything. At night, Li Xiao tells Yuan, I met Ye Han today, but we didn't talk much. Yuan tells her, a few days ago, I saw Ye Han waiting for you outside our house, but he told me not to tell you, so I didn't tell you. Yuan says, I think you should reconsider your relationship. The next day, we see Jia Cheng. He is reading a note given by Yuan, in which she had written, I want you to find happiness at the end of your journey. He is smiling a lot while reading this. Today is Yuan's modeling show, where Li Xiao comes and Ye Han and Jia Cheng are also there. Jia Cheng asks him, did you say hi to Li Xiao? Ye Han says, not yet, but she must have seen me. Li Xiao sees him but ignores him and sits in her place. This show starts successfully. When Yuan comes on stage, Jia Cheng seems very happy for her. When Yuan comes out from there, Jia Cheng gives her flowers and congratulates her. She thanks Jia Cheng for coming here. Jia Cheng says, I have to tell you something. Yuan says, my colleagues are here, so we can talk later. But Jia Cheng says, I don't want to wait anymore. Then he says, on the last day of last year, you asked me if I wanted to marry you. I will give you the answer to that today. Then he gives her a ring and says, I want to marry you. And says, you wrote in that letter for me that I should find happiness at the end of my journey, but my happiness is only you. Yuan feels very good hearing this, and she becomes very emotional. Jia Cheng says, again, I love you very much, and I want to marry you. Do you want to be with me? Yuan says yes, and he puts the ring on her, and then they both hug each other. Seeing the video of their proposal, Suyan and Jilin also look very happy. On the other side, Lu Zheng and Sheng Yun are also smiling watching Jia Cheng's proposal video. Today, Ye Han is at Li Xiao's grandma's nursing home, playing cards with them. Li Xiao feels very good seeing Ye Han playing with her grandma. Then she thanks Ye Han, saying, you often come here and spend time with my grandma. Ye Han says, Grandma has always treated me very well. Then Li Xiao says bye to him and starts to leave. So Ye Han says to her, you know about my feelings, right? If you haven't decided anything yet, it's okay. I will wait for you. When you decide, you can tell me. Hearing this, Li Xiao leaves from here. Then she goes to the flower shop and the owner tells her, from today, I am closing this shop. And if you want to write something for me, you can write it there. Li Xiao goes there to write and sees that Yehan has written some numbers there. She comes out of the flower shop, and just then her eyes fall on the traffic light. She is looking at those numbers very carefully. Just then she remembers that Yehan used to always wait for her here. Remembering this, she runs to Yehan's house, and coming to Yehan, she starts telling him the time of the traffic light. Li Xiao says, "You had written the time of the traffic light on the note at the flower shop." Yehan asks, "Did you go there?" Li Xiao says, "I never paid attention to the traffic light because I never waited for you there. None of our encounters were a coincidence. You always waited for me. You love me so much, but I never saw it." Li Xiao says, "I was very weak. I thought everything would go wrong and tragedy would repeat itself. But after breaking up with you, I realized that the biggest tragedy is losing you." Yehan says, "Is this your answer?" Li Xiao says, "Yes." And then she kisses him. The next day, Suyan and Jelen get married. When they both come on stage, everyone looks very happy seeing them. They both make many promises to each other, and in the end, they both say together, "We will love each other until the last moment of our lives." Then Suyan hugs Jelen. Then Yehan and Li Xiao come to the bridge. Li Xiao is wearing a wedding dress, so as soon as he sees her, the musician there starts playing romantic music. Then fireworks start there. Seeing them, Li Xiao becomes very happy. Then Yehan says, "We have just attended Zhu Yan's wedding. Now why not our wedding be the next?" Hearing this, Li Xiao smiles and hugs him. Then Yehan meets all his friends. They all have a lot of fun together. They say, "When we turn 50, will our lives still be like this?" Yehan says, "It doesn't matter. No matter how many years pass, our friendship will remain the same." The next day, Li Xiao and Yehan meet at the flower shop. Li Xiao asks him, "Do you know why this flower shop closed down?" Yehan says, "Its owner has opened a dessert shop." Li Xiao says, "Would you like to try this shop?" Yehan agrees to this. Just then, it starts raining there. Yehan kisses Li Xiao, and then they both run from there, escaping the rain. Then, in the last scene, we see Yehan. He completes his story saying, "The whole story was up to here, but my story is not over yet." Yehan, while leaving, says, "I have also thought of the title of this book. The title of this book is Men in Love, and at this moment, the drama has a happy ending."